Mother, man.
Hello, loyal listeners. Murder Metal Mayhem, if you're listening to this, your thetan levels are above 666. For $279, we can cure
it. Case
it.
of the clap and a trailer court. Able to shatter eardrums within a 666-mile radius. A podcast more brutal than all the rest. It's Murder Metal Mayhem!
All right, quite the endorsement there.
Quite the endorsement.
Elron, all fired up, man. It is Tuesday, and we're doing that thing we do here at Horns High Studios.
What's up, motherfuckers?
On the Horns High Podcast Network. Having a good one here tonight, Chris. Episode 133, man. Going to do a good one tonight. Kind of a weird topic for us, a little different.
I'm confused as shit.
But it's definitely a cult leader theme here going on. And Joey, of course, you're here with us tonight. Everything going good over there?
Doing well.
Excellent.
Living life.
Excellent. You're getting ready to go on vacation.
I am. I'm fitting to go on vacation.
We're doing a brutal rewind for next week. We're doing that here Thursday night, and then that'll play for next week. Doing that one on John Wayne Gacy, though. That's going to be badass. Brutal rewind. So, all right. T-shirts. Chris, I see you got your loyal Murder Metal Mayhem hoodie on. What do you got?
Little story about my shirt from today at work.
Oh, cool.
One of our machines was broken down and whatnot, and my partner that I was working on something else. He was working on this machine literally all day long. He was working on it. And he's like, hey, you want to put this thing back together for me real quick? I've been elbow deep in this thing all day. And I was like, guess what? I'm wearing my elbow deep shirt. So, yeah, I got my elbow deep shirt on with the fucking vagina spider on it. So,
wow. Yeah. All right. Very cool. Joey, what do you got going on?
I got the pustulated long sleeve again.
Nice.
I almost thought this would be put away for the year, and it was kind of nicer earlier.
Yeah.
But I was like,
it's a little chilly.
Yeah.
It is a little chilly. Very cool. And I've got my... Rotten Cotton shirt on. It's the Damien the Omen shirt that they've got on their website. We're going to be talking about them a lot here tonight. And, of course, it's CK's birthday tonight, so we get CCK in here. We'll have to come up with one of our festive hats or something we've got up there for tonight. Yeah. So we got CK's birthday, and that'll be cool. Last week, though, we had a good one. We did a feature on the crazy-ass cult leader, Chris, old Flavor 8 himself.
Old Jimmy Jones.
Jimbo. Fucking whack job. Commanded, though, 909 people to drink the poison.
He didn't command all of them. They were forced.
Some of them. Well, that's true.
Some of them were forced.
So mass suicide in the jungles of Guyana. Terrible story, but he tried to create a utopia, and he called it Jonestown. So I had to go to the dentist today, speaking of Jonestown. And the dentist was like, hey, doing the podcast tonight, aren't you? And I said, yep. And he said, who are you guys doing? I said, well, we're actually doing L. Ron Hubbard. He's like, wow, that's the Scientology guy, right? I said, yeah. And then we started talking about, we did the cult leader thing last week with Jim Jones. I said, this week we're doing L. Ron Hubbard. And he was like, yeah, I was just talking to somebody about the way that's so strange how people could buy into something like that. And I said, you should start your own, cult yourself, because his last name is Wise, and call it Wisetown. I mean, everybody would want to go to Wisetown.
Be smarter in this town.
And I said, your cult would have the brightest fucking smile that there was. So he was getting a big kick out of that. So, no, he's super cool. But he always asks me about the podcast, which is funny. But that was a good one we did on Jim Jones. CK came to the table with St. Vitus.
Hell yeah.
And, of course, other news, heavy metal stuff. And we did our crazy shit, killer cage match, and all that. And so definitely want to go listen to episode 132.
It's cool. We did the Jim Jones cult shit. Then we're doing this cult shit.
And it was not on purpose.
No.
And we got Lundgren
and then
coming up.
we have Lundgren coming up in fucking later April.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Yeah, that was weird how it just worked out that way. But you know what I did? I think I sent you. Maybe I didn't. The summer starting to go into June, I think, and I think I've got Feather.
Oh yeah,
Feather Thief. Yeah. There's a couple of like very recent ones that I put in there. Maybe the other Page a Day one. I can't remember.
I can't imagine that it would be too soon that we would ever quit just because we didn't have something to talk about.
Oh, we got plenty of shit to talk about.
We do. I mean, all the list that you guys and me just keep adding on to, there's probably 30 or 40 topics that aren't even in the schedule yet. Just, we know we're going to do them. It's just when. And this was one of them, you know, doing L. Ron Hubbard. I mean, we've, you know, this week, of course, doing him. And, you know, it's I think, very similar to Jones with the whole cult thing. Of course, a very different outcome, of course.
Different outcome.
But just the whole cult theme, if you think Scientology is a cult. But I mean, L. Ron Hubbard was a science fiction author who basically invented the religion Scientology. I mean, it's, you know, Australia outlawed it as a cult. You know, his life story is very debated based on what you look at. Yeah. If you look at the Scientology websites, they make him out like he was a war hero and did all these great things. And honestly, I mean, when you look at the facts, I mean, I don't think it's there. You know, we're going to talk about that
made up stories
tonight. Very much. And he was a writer. And I mean, I know from doing the things I do, I could create all sorts of fantastic stories and people believe it, you know.
Yeah, I did that.
You know, so.
Not to mention whenever you're sitting there trying to explain exactly what everybody's looking for, the meaning of life, he's claiming to be able to fucking tell you that the answer to that question.
Yes. At a time, you know, in the 50s when that was like a huge thing. Like people were trying to figure shit out. You know,
science fiction.
Perfect time.
Pretty much at its peak, too.
Yes, yes. So very, very controversial topic tonight, I think. But it's wacky as hell. And we'll talk about all the weirdness that seems to surround the name L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology. And that'll be in our murder segment, even though there's no murder that we're speaking of tonight. But that fits the best there. So that's where he is. We got CK warming up. It's his birthday, guys. So he's all fucking fired up. He's going to be talking about the band Prong, which is going to be cool.
Oh, yeah, dude. Prong kicks ass.
Yeah, I mean, that's a definite back in the day, you know, band. And he's running up and down Wildman Street. He's got his birthday hat on and nothing else.
Oh,
and he's out there just letting it fly, and he's screaming. And
pick up the broken pieces.
He's wanting his fucking Carvel ice cream cake, and he's fired up until he gets it. So he's just a fucking maniac. So that'll be a good one for him to talk to him tonight. Got a killer cage match. As always, boys. Chris, got a few listeners we want to say hey to.
We got Chris Gorspawn down there in Tennessee. We got
yeah.
Rowdy Bonehouse and Rebecca Boomsock.
Rebecca, man.
Yeah, she's always on there.
Always. But hey, we appreciate it very much. All three of you guys. We got a good matchup tonight, though, Joey. A good one. Couple of familiar faces.
A couple of kind of familiar faces, kind of new to the cage match, though.
To the cage match, for sure.
Al Capone.
Nice.
The OG gangster, Scarface himself. But he's going to be going up against Australian serial killer David Burney.
Yeah.
It should be pretty brutal.
Yeah, Bernie's on the list. Yeah, I think I have Snowtown Murders coming up.
Yep.
So
no, I'm excited to do that one too. That's such a fucking good case. It is a good one.
I know you've brought that one up before. So that should be a good match tonight, and they'll have a couple of objects and have always a variable to fight with or to fight against. You know, depends on the subject, right? We'll get that in the Mayhem segment tonight. Big thanks, of course, to our friend Tony Campagna down at Spellbound Effects and Art.
Killing the game.
Damn, Chris, every fucking day on Facebook, man. Just one thing after the next.
Nastiest shit, man.
So brutal. Some of the stuff he comes up with is just amazing. So if you want to get some gore, you got your stimulus check. And you can come off with a couple $100.
Yeah.
Or even $50, whatever you can spare. Go check out spellboundeffectsandart.com. We link to it in the episode description, but go check it out. Tony's a huge fan of the show, huge supporter these last couple of years. He also is about supporting the Voice of Dread podcast, so he was on the Voice of Dread with me. So we, you can check out that interview or show I did with Tony at voiceofdread.com. So support him, buy some rotten fucking brutal shit, man. And speaking of rotten, How about our new sponsor, guys?
Yeah,
Got a new
Rotten
one?
Cotton.
Rotten Cotton. Talk about some sickness. They're sponsoring both Murder Metal Mayhem and Voice of Dread.
Hell yeah.
And they have the sickest shirts, stickers, buttons, and even some comics. I mean, I've been
graphic
talking
novel right there, dude.
Yeah,
Fucking
this graphic novel for Bottom Feeder that they put out. I mean, very impressive
artwork
stuff.
is intense, man.
It is. I mean, the artwork is very intense.
Yeah.
So this is some really quality stuff. We're going to be talking about them some tonight, but you guys can go to rottencotton.com and you can get 15% off by using the code MAYHEM, all capital letters, MAYHEM, when you check out, and you'll get 15% off for your orders, $20 or more. Great stuff. I'm wearing a shirt tonight, my Damien shirt that I got from them. Really, really good quality, very, very professional shipment, super top shelf stuff. So rottencotton.com, get the discount, and let them know that Murder Metal Mayhem fans love some fucking sick shit. So
now, I know it's not really a sponsor, but I just like bringing up Sick Rick Mass real quick.
Oh, man.
Just because we saw that picture, he did the pogo, half black and white, half in color, and it was so dope. And, of course, we got 6 of his masks surrounding us while we're sitting here. But, yeah, I just want to bring up Sick Rick real fast.
He's amazing mask work, dude.
Yeah.
He is amazing. And Rick was also on Voice of Dread with me. Most listened to Voice of Dread so far.
Hell
so
yeah.
Fucking right.
Yeah, Rick's a great dude. Always coming up with new stuff. He's just
For
really,
real.
really
Like, he's
awesome.
always fucking coming up with
Very,
something
very
cool.
productive dude. He also sells real estate too, so he's a very busy guy. Yeah. So thanks to everybody out there listening to Murder Metal Mayhem. We continue to see the numbers roll in. This week we had about 2,500 listens, so we appreciate that.
Thanks,
and
guys.
thanks.
You're the shit.
Yeah, I mean, in fucking Columbus, Ohio, still #1. Chicago just behind them, and seeing all sorts of Berlin, Germany's been in the top 10, which is really cool. And several different cities in California just been alternating in that top 10. So we really appreciate Dallas, Texas. There's been several, just constantly rotates, in and out. So thanks everybody. And Joey, you got some good page a day stuff over there?
I got a few things.
All right, cool.
Let's see what we're talking about.
And this
over
is
here
a
today.
calendar that you got that's got serial killer information each day. You
It's just
tear
like
it away.
true crime fucking statistics. Or
Good stuff though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like we got them in at my work like last November, and I saw it, and I was like, I'm gonna buy that just to have it. And then I started looking through it. I was like, man, I could probably fucking talk about this on the show every now and then.
Oh yeah.
So okay, so here's one they're talking about. So they're talking about 5 serial killers and fucking some music that they really fucking love, like bands that they really, really love or were linked to in some way. And so one that they talk about that we obviously know about this one, Richard Ramirez.
For sure.
And you're talking fucking AC/DC, of course.
Oh, yeah.
It was nonstop. He talked about how he fucking loved the Highway to Hell album. And, of course, at one of the crime scenes, they found a fucking AC/DC hat as part of evidence that was left from him. So you got Charles Manson, and when you talk about Charles Manson, you automatically think of the Beatles, the White Album, the song Helter Skelter.
Right.
I mean, if somebody doesn't know this, that's basically he used that as a Bible and a fucking, a symbol for him and his family to commit the Tate LaBianca murders.
That's how he justified it.
Yep.
Yeah, the Beatles were talking to him, yeah.
So then Jeffrey Dahmer, I saw this too. There was like an interview or whatever, but whenever he was back in the army and shit, his army pals or whatever, they said that he would always listen to Black Sabbath in his headphones and get wasted drunk.
Oh, nice.
So whenever he was getting his dishonorable discharge, he was doing it to some Sabbath. So
Nice.
that's
nice.
cool. John Wayne Gacy, he fucking put on a fucking survey that his favorite band of all time, REO Speedwagon.
Hey, Illinois.
Yep.
Illinois band.
So then the last one they talked about was Ted Bundy. Now, Ted Bundy, he didn't even really listen to a whole lot of music. What he liked was talk radio.
Oh, I could see it being
I
a
could
Republican.
totally
Just
see that.
nonstop, he would listen to fucking talk radio. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Huh.
Okay.
It wasn't Goremonger. I'm surprised.
I know it should have been. So here's an interesting factoid. Everybody knows that when Jeffrey Dahmer was going through his crimes or whatnot, he had a boy escape who was returned to him by the police.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Who he ended up killing.
Right.
What a lot of people don't know is this tidbit of information is those two cops, John Balserzak and Joseph Garbrish, they were fired, of course, from the Metro PD for that incident, but they were later reinstated and awarded $55,000 each in back pay.
Really? Wow.
Isn't that fucked up? I did not know that. I always knew that those cops, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But not only did they get found not guilty of the wrongdoing, they got back pay. That is fucked up.
That is fucked up.
Okay. And then, so the last one I've got right here is about this girl, Veronica Compton.
Okay.
Now, we brought her up before we talked Hillside Stranglers.
Right.
Okay.
Veronica Compton is the girl who sent a screenplay that she wrote called The Mutilated Cutter to Kenneth Bianchi when he was in prison. And she started to see him and fell in love with him, essentially. And he snuck her some of his semen in a plastic bag.
Oh, yeah.
And she went and lured a woman to a hotel room, and she was going to kill her and plant the semen so that way they can be like, well, there's DNA and Bianchi's in prison, so it couldn't have been his, which is our whole plan. But, of course, the lady ended up fighting her off and getting away, and she got charged with the attempted murder. Now, while she's in prison, she starts talking to Douglas Clark, who's one half of the Sunset Strip Killers with Carol Bundy, and she starts talking to him romantically.
Oh, my God.
And he sent her a picture of a headless, decapitated female body as some part of their correspondence.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Wow.
and then she ended up...
How'd he get that through prison?
Yeah,
Right?
And there was something else that they were talking about, and I tried to look a little further, but something about Angelo Bono's trial whenever he was getting convicted. They used her testimony saying that she only did the Bianchi or the Doug Clark thing to get Bianchi jealous.
Oh, wow.
It's like, what the fuck kind of love triangle is that? You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
But yeah, Veronica Compton, fucking basically a serial killer groupie.
I guess.
And, she attempted it, and I'm pretty positive that she's free right now. I think she got out in like 2013.
That might be an interesting subject one time. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I got for today.
Awesome. Very cool. Good stuff, man. Well, Chris, Joe, we got a lot on our plate tonight. We're going to be traveling the galaxy, Chris. We're going to be going all over the fucking wherever to chase this fucking charlatan who lived one crazy ass life. So let's fucking get it done.
Mind control on? Fuck.
God damn, decapitated.
Always killing.
Kill the Cult, which I thought was fitting tonight, doing another cult episode. And Decapitated, though, is recording a new album. I'm very excited about that. I really like those guys. And, they've gone through a lot of changes after they had that bad accident. So the totally different singer, the drummer died in the accident, so new drummer. But the original members are like, hey, they would have wanted us to keep going. So
they had that whole fucking drama with that girl.
Yeah, they did.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, it's just like certain things like that could destroy a band or whatever.
Yeah,
and they're
they
still out
just
here
persevere.
doing it.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. Well, tonight, guys, we're going to be doing our feature on, as we said, Ron Hubbard, Joey and Chris, another person that goes by the first initial middle name. What the fuck? And the thing that's even crazy is I don't even know that that's even his name, because there's question of he was born Ronald Hubbard and he added the Lafayette.
Oh, yeah.
But in a lot of sources, it says that that's how he was born. I tried to find his birth certificate and I was not able to find it. I saw records of his death, and it lists it as Lafayette Ronald Hubbard. But anyway, it's kind of funny because we were laughing about old K. Skip Manane when we were talking Russell Francois.
I told you, you'd hate LL Cool J.
That's right. Or CC Sabathia.
CC DeVille.
CC DeVille. That's right. I hate him anyway. No, sorry, CC. I don't really hate you.
CC, if you're listening to us, that's awesome.
Yeah, really.
CC, if he's listening to us, that's awesome.
Dude, if Tommy Karate could fucking hear this shit, come on now. As far as we know, there haven't been any murders associated with this whole situation, but it is definitely a dark and very twisted tale, and we thought it would fit in with what we're doing. His life story, though, very much changes depending on where you read it. And we did our best to sift through the bullshit and give you the real story, even, like I said, with the name, because depending on what you read depends on if he really was Lafayette Ronald Hubbard, or if that was brought up later.
Right.
Hard to say. But many claim he was born that way, so who knows. But even something as simple as that with this guy is confusing and difficult.
Yeah,
so that whole story is like that. The whole story is like that. He was an author of cheap pulp fiction novels, Western, spy stories, adventure stories, stuff like that. He wrote a lot of stuff under many different names. His book Dianetics, though, is what really changed it. And once he saw how money-making religion could be, Scientology was born.
That was his goal, money.
Yeah, he was all about it. I mean, anybody wants to make some money, and he just happened to hit pay dirt with that. So it's going to be a good one. Now, Chris, what do you think it is about the whole L. Ron Hubbard Scientology thing that makes it controversial or weird to some people?
I know for me, it's how the fuck this guy takes science fiction writing, makes it a religion,
right?
Gets tax exemption. Plus, he gets all these fucking movie stars and shit that are fucking into it and shit.
Right.
Like, what the fuck, man? Like, I'm fucking like, it's like, it's seriously like taking any science fiction book and be like, yep, that's real.
That's
right
what
there.
happened. That's how we got here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
You know, it's even more fucked up than that. What if he's right?
Now, Joey, how much about L. Ron Hubbard did you know before we started doing the research for this one?
Hardly anything at all, except for the fucking South Park destroying him.
Right.
Yeah, that was great.
I mean, Scientology isn't anything that I really looked into, probably because, like you said, it's not really like murder involved, really. So I wasn't looking into certain cases or whatnot. But I mean, if you brought it up to me, the first word that comes to mind is cult. So it's definitely the category that
I mean, the Australians call it out. There's other countries as well, but Australia has been saying that, from the get-go.
Yeah.
So, I had heard it first time on a couple of podcasts. I can't remember now if it was last podcast on the left. I know there's a good one on Time Suck, but I didn't know anything about the guy. I knew who he was. I heard of the book Dianetics. I didn't even know what it was about. But when I did hear about it, I was really, started to learn. It was amazing. Like you guys said, I mean, for somebody to completely create a religion out of whole cloth.
Yeah.
Is pretty impressive, but when you really sit there and wonder, I mean, we've got Christianity, Judaism, Islam. You have all these different religions. I mean, in my opinion, that's how they were created too. But you're talking about thousands of years ago.
For real.
I mean, some of those stories are pretty outrageous.
Yeah, this is created off fucking somebody who was a writer.
Right. And in modern times.
You're believing a book that was written, if you believe in the Bible.
Right.
I
know. That's what I'm saying. It's not much different. It's just that we could see it now because we've got records of it. And there's like videos of him talking about it. And
about how
the book came out in 1950. So we're not talking about something that's thousands and thousands of years ago. And so I think, that it, depending on what your views are, I mean, we've talked about religion before. Hey, whatever you believe is up to you.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I see a lot of similarities with religion. I feel like it's established religion.
Yeah. It's almost like an obvious fucking evolution.
Yeah.
Like the shit that's going on in the Bible and stuff, that's kind of crackpot sounded too.
It is.
And so the shit that he's talking about is obviously crackpot too, but it was for a newer generation. It was a modernized version.
Right.
And with even more thought processes, honestly, into it. probably, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just weird shit. And I mean, if people were believing that way back then because they're trying to find the meaning of life, then for them to believe it again in the 50s through this way and to continue on, I mean, yeah, just unfortunately, to me, that's obvious going to happen.
Yeah,
we're going to see more in the future that are fucking weirder and shit too.
Probably.
Yeah,
I have no doubts.
But you know, the big difference, I mean, there is that comparison, but when you get really down to it, guys, the big difference between, you know, joining the Catholic Church down the street or the Christian church over here, if you don't go one Sunday, they're not like coming to your house and like hunting you down.
Where are you at?
Yeah, or not letting you associate with other people that aren't a part of it. I mean, that's where they get really fucking weird.
Which I grew up around.
Obviously, very strange.
I grew up around a Jehovah's Witness church and knew some kids that went to that church. Holy shit. In Mattoon, like, they owned the neighborhood that, like, surrounded their church. You wouldn't, like, their lights went out on Halloween. My buddy went out with a girl, and they couldn't hold hands. Like, she would have been shunned if they would have been caught holding hands. Like, there was just so much shit, and I'm like, holy fuck, I'd stay away from that.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely different from, you know, things that we're all used to. So it is very interesting. Now, L. Ron Hubbard was born in Tilden, Nebraska in 1911.
I mean, how perfect is that?
Right.
1911.
From fucking, but also
from
just
Nebraska.
from Nebraska.
Oh, some no-name place in Nebraska.
Jim Jones from fucking nowhere, Indiana.
Indiana, right.
Yeah.
His mother, Ladora May, was trained as a teacher, and his
That's
father...
where he got the L.
Oh, there you go. That's funny, dude. His father, Harry Ross Hubbard, was a naval officer, and of course, that would be a big thing for old L. Ron later on, because he would just sit around and listen to his dads and his buddies talking about Navy stories and war and all sorts of adventures they had been on during World War I and so forth. His dad would rejoin the Navy during World War I, and his mother would work as a clerk for the State Department. So they were moving around a lot, though. Military family back then moved around a lot. Now, Chris, he was really involved in the Boy Scouts. It says he became an Eagle Scout at 13. But, you know, with this guy, I don't really know because there's no records of it. They say there's no record.
Yeah, they said he was like the youngest forever. Like
until 2014,
Yeah. So who knows? Like you said, there's no record of it. But if he wants to say he started off his life as the youngest Eagle Scout ever, like
whatever, dude.
Here I go. I was the guy. But I mean,
the way he was, though, you know, you could see him making that up too.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, they say Kaylin Auerbach did it in 2014 at age 11. Damn. So fuck yeah, Kaylin, man, it's awesome.
And there's record of that. Shit.
Yes, there is record. I'm sure videos of everything, right? Hubbard would have a series of failures that would follow him around most of his life. He was kicked out of high school when he was in Helena, Montana, due to bad grades. And for a while, he was a writer for the school paper. Now, speaking from a writer's standpoint with this one, they recruited me multiple times to write for the paper. But I just couldn't do like the basketball game highlights, you know.
Right.
I hated doing
into
stuff.
It and
I wanted to write stories about like, you know, haunted houses and people, you know, being haunted by ghosts or whatever, you know, crazy shit like I like.
I thought it was funny that he said he grew up on the ranch that he grew up on was like a quarter of the state of Montana. You remember seeing that? He said like the ranch that he was in Montana was like a quarter of the fucking state.
Wow.
So like.
That's
all
crazy.
Right. So your parents just owned a quarter of Montana? All right.
That's funny. But, he would, they wouldn't let me write about what I wanted. And I don't think L. Ron would have been real happy writing for the school paper with the stuff he did. So he did have a flair for it, though, and he wrote a lot. And that, of course, is important to any young writer, is just keep writing a lot. I mean, even if it's like letters, anything is good. He tried to get into the Navy, but didn't pass the physical due to bad eyesight. And then he failed the math part of the test to get into Annapolis to become an officer. So he went to George Washington University instead in 1930. But he did bad there.
He just sucked at everything. Dude.
He failed. Yeah, I mean, he was a failure. He failed his science classes. Of course, he would later go on to form a religion based in science, which is
fiction.
funny. Yeah. So it is kind of crazy that, he couldn't take science classes. He had no background in any of this stuff. And it adds to the whole insanity of this thing. 1932, he's kicked out. Ironically, he studied and used hypnotism, and many suspect that that's how he got a lot of the people to believe in him, was he was hypnotizing them. So that's kind of fucked up. So Joey, this guy just is a fuck up. He's very creative. He's got a charisma. And as we learned last week with Jim Jones, that's a bad fucking combination.
Yeah, if you fucking got a niche somewhere and you can fucking speak to some shit that people are going to fucking start listening to you, that's a very powerful weapon. And in the wrong hands, it seems like with this story, I don't know. It's so fucked up to do something like this because this is still an ongoing, organized thing.
Yeah.
And there's people out there that are really into it and shit. And I don't want to fucking turn anybody off from us if they feel offended the way fucking Isaac Hayes did with South Park. It's get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? We're just fucking, to us it's some fucking odd shit and we're talking about it, but
exactly,
it is weird because it's not doing Jonestown or whenever we do Lundgren, it's a case that happened and you can look back on it and be retrospective. This is okay, this is some shit that's happening. Going on. You can go fucking down to the Scientology church if you want to.
Right now.
Yeah. It's whew.
Yeah, there's one in Champaign.
So if any of y'all are doing that or want to go down there, fucking give us a fucking report back about that shit.
Yeah, go for it.
Let us know how that went.
Good luck. Now, I read that while he was in college, he tried to organize a sailing trip to the Caribbean. That sounds nice. But ran into all sorts of fucking problems.
The
owner of the ship ordered him to return the ship to Baltimore. So kind of like a guy that tries to set up shows and can't do it.
Right.
That's all like that.
Trying to be a promoter or whatever.
Just no power. The most obvious shit's all fucked up. His father enrolled him to take a trip for the Red Cross, some relief in Puerto Rico, but he decides to abandon that cause and join a mineral surveyor in search of gold. But that also turns out to be a bust. So old L. Ron is just a proven failure over and over and over again. Now, he does get a license to be a glider pilot. I thought that was kind of random. He winds up meeting Polly, the woman that he would, become his first wife in 1933. And she had some fucking harrowing stories about being married to that dude. She talks about him hitting her in the head with a pistol. They had a son, L. Ron Hubbard II, nicknamed Nibs.
What's up, Nibs?
And I was thinking those little cheese, those are nips or nibs.
No,
are they nibs?
No, nips, but then you got the caramels, the nibs, or those nibs. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay. I was like, what the fuck? They also had a daughter, Catherine, but were always broke and they were struggling. And on one of the docs I watched, I didn't see any mention of the son, but in one of the podcasts I listened to, I remembered hearing about Nibs, who helped the father in the 50s in the church, but would be very critical of him in Scientology, and then changed his name to Ron DeWolf, and then died in 1991. So tried to get away from all that
They're
shit.
all fucking broke and shit. Fuck it, I wonder if they call his old lady old Mother Hubbard.
That's funny. Now, Chris, I think I would be pissed with the nickname of Nibs. I don't know about you.
I mean, fuck, whatever. I mean, his dad bails on him anyway. Just bails on him, never talks to him again. Fucking
won't even admit that it's even his.
Right,
really shitty.
Take that name Nibs and shove it up your ass.
That's right. I'll be Ron DeWolf. Right. So he abandons his kids. He's just a piece of shit. Now, he was publishing a lot of stories in the Pulp Fiction magazines at the time and getting a penny a word, which when you do the math is not a whole lot.
I saw that, a penny per word, man. That is, you got a 300 word thing. That's only $3, bro.
Right. I mean, that's why I was doing the math. Like on average, my short stories are about 7,500 words. So that's like $75. But I mean, the amount of work that goes into one of those, I mean, Jesus.
Right.
$75. I mean, I definitely couldn't live doing that, No. So, but that was obviously in 1950s, different times. So I'm sure today's money maybe 2 or 3 times that, but that's still not a whole lot.
And he did say that during two people about this, that it didn't work. And if you really want to get money, start a religion.
That's right.
Like,
yeah,
that's how you start a religion. That's how you get money.
Yeah, just like we talked about with Jim Jones with Father Divine. I mean, somebody fucking said something that lit a bulb going, that's a good idea.
A good idea. I got to fucking
you know what I mean? But he's writing under all these names. I was getting a kick out of some of the names he's got. Winchester Remington Colt. I mean,
Every major gun brand.
Right? How inventive. Yeah. Kurt von Ratchen. Rene Lafayette. Joe Blitz. I like that one. And then Legionnaire 148. What the fuck is that? Dude. That's like an early screen name, Joey. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a commenter on our at the end of the show. Legionnaire 149.
Probably be a rapper.
Yeah. Even though he wrote a variety of stuff, his main thing would be the science fiction stuff. 1936, they moved in with L. Ron's grandmother, still struggling with making any money writing. He does publish a novel, Buckskin Brigades, 1937, and a script for The Secret of Treasure Island in 1938 for Columbia Pictures. But he spends a lot of time in New York City. He's living in hotel rooms. His wife is, thinking he's having affairs. I mean, this guy's just, like I said, shrouded in very controversial, obscure things. He's just very slithery. He tries a second time to get in the Navy in 1941, and they let him in.
Well, because it's
World
fucking
War
1941.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
World
you
War
want it
II.
to
Do you want to
go?
go?
Yeah,
we're
come on,
taking anybody
motherfucker.
we can right
Yeah,
now.
we'll pass you on the eye test. He gets in as a second lieutenant, which is the first rank as an officer. Despite all the tall tales he told about his military experience, though, he never left the United States. The awards that he got, I looked on his page, Wikipedia page, of all his ribbons, and every one of them was basically a participation.
Right.
Because I got on my, DD 214, my discharge papers, it says I've got the Desert Storm ribbon, but I was never there. But I was in the military while that was going on.
Right.
So
if anything went to shit, you could have been deployed.
of course, but I didn't go, but yet I still have a Desert Storm ribbon. So the fact that he's got, World War II ribbons and stuff means absolutely nothing. He got the marksman badge, the basic, the simple one, the lowest of the bunch. So nothing extraordinary whatsoever, but yet some things you read make him sound like fucking Audie Murphy or Rick Rescorla or some shit like that, but he's not. Now, I also saw
But he's somebody, or we wouldn't be talking about him.
Yeah,
there's that.
Well, yeah. He
you
hits-
can talk all the shit you want about him. He's a fucking famous motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He fucks up a bunch of times, though. He bombs a log in the ocean. He thought it was a ship, and then he winds up getting lost
He's over by Tijuana and shit.
and bombs an island off of Mexico.
was about to
started
fucking-
some shit.
Yeah, Mexico's about to flip their shit. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
So they kick him out. 1946, he's inactive. So, Chris, the guy cannot seem to get his shit together. But, as Joey said, he takes all these experiences and really polishes it up and becomes to, be this mythical figure. He was blinded by the sun and broke his back and then healed himself. I mean, he very fantastic type stories,
And the fact that he healed himself with his broken back and people believe that shit,
Right.
and healed his blindness from the sun,
Right.
aliens did that shit, bro.
Not the same with aliens, but it also reminds me of Joseph Smith with the stories that he would tell whenever he was creating the Mormon religion and stuff.
Right. He wrote a book, Excalibur, in 1948, which failed to sell. His inspiration came from a bad reaction to a drug he was given during some dental work. But he would say that he was dead for 8 minutes, and he exaggerated even that story. He would tell his agent that everyone who read Excalibur either went insane or killed himself.
That's a hell of a book, bro.
Yeah. Why don't you get that fucking thing away from me? But parts of that would eventually become the monster of monsters, Dianetics, which was his big call to fame. Somehow, Hubbard becomes friends with Jack Parsons, who is this rocket propulsion researcher at the California Institute of Technology. He moves into this fucking dude's mansion in 1949 or 45, leaves his kids and his wife back in Washington State, like, fuck you.
Right, that's when he just drops them, like, all right, fuck it, I'm out.
And she didn't want to uproot and move, so he's like, all right, later. Parsons is really into the occult and a follower of Aleister Crowley to the point where they were like friends. He even reports to Crowley about meeting L. Ron Hubbard. Parsons and Hubbard are into doing some crazy occult shit, sex magic rites, trying to create the fucking Antichrist. I mean, some pretty fucked up shit. But Joey, I mean, we're adding... As if this wasn't weird enough. Now Aleister Crowley's name is brought up in this story. What the fuck?
And I mean, if you're fucking, talking the fucking six magics or whatever you're fucking into at that time, and you're out there on the West Coast, I feel like you're gonna run into fucking Aleister Crowley then.
Oh yeah.
It also, like, him moving in with Parsons too. I mean, Charles Manson fucking moved in and overtook fucking Brian Wilson's mansion.
That's true.
20 years later, it's
That's
like fucking,
true, dude.
These motherfuckers just have this fucking
knack,
ability to get people to fucking give in.
Yeah. And believe them,
Yeah, and maybe believe them, or if, it seems like sometimes with the case of with Manson and Wilson, that Wilson was just fucking overly over it and tired of him and just was like, God damn, I'm giving up.
Yeah, get out.
You know, and some people might be the same way with these other ones, but I don't know. You get different styles of them because you get the ones that are fucking openly giving everything you have to the people. We're getting that with Lundgren. You saw it with Jim Jones. It's like, sign over everything that you have to me right now.
Right.
But you have these other ones with like the Scientology and stuff, and like you try to keep it a little more fucking regular scale where you're like, okay, you're just part of this fucking thing that we're doing. You can just give a little bit each time, but that's because you've got fucking millions of people giving a little bit becomes fucking massive.
And
massive.
The more you do, the more you got to pay.
Yeah, they keep wanting you to move up.
So the different ways of, you know what I'm saying, just how these people manipulate is just amazing.
It
and
is.
the people
It's
that
very
fall for it.
He's a total bullshitter. Even Aleister Crowley, because Hubbard and Parsons agree to start a business venture.
Yeah.
But most of the money's coming from Parsons, called Allied Enterprises. But Hubbard convinces this dude to let him take off with his girlfriend in a boat for just, whatever, we're later. We're going to be fine.
Loved boats.
Yeah, he did. He did. Even Aleister Crowley is telling Parsons he's fucking crazy and this guy's a bullshitter and he's taking advantage of him. Parsons then, or I should say Hubbard and Sarah wind up getting married, even though he's still married to Polly. So this is just getting very confusing. They would have a daughter, Alexis, and then Sarah divorces him in 1946 because she finds out that he wasn't actually divorced, so he's already fucking married.
So technically, you didn't even have to get a divorce because that marriage didn't fucking
happen,
anyway.
right? And then he winds up divorcing the first wife in 1947. So it's like, oh my God. Then he marries a third wife, Mary Sue, in 1952. They have 4 kids in 6 years. But his son Quentin would kill himself at the age of 18 in 1975 in Las Vegas.
So what's he got? Like fucking 7 kids?
He's got like 7 kids, yeah. Mary Sue would be one of 9 Scientologists that actually went to prison for stealing those government documents. That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
It's the biggest government heist, I think.
Inside heist ever.
Ever, yeah. So 30,000 documents. They had Scientologists infiltrating all these different government organizations and stealing every bit of documentation they could find to get rid of it. So, I mean, these people are very organized.
And that shows how fucking deep the fucking web went with these people. They got people in those positions to be able to do that.
Yeah. Now, Chris, this guy's life is like a fucking soap opera with all this shit going on, but he's got the ability to make people believe in him, which is like, Joey and I we're all saying, and he just continues to fucking move. I mean, you could see he is setting the table for some serious shit here, next level stuff.
You definitely see that, but I still don't. This story fucking still baffles the shit out of me, dude. Like,
It is really weird.
How is this a possibility? This guy's like literally just wrote this book, like
Right.
making this up. I just don't understand, man. I'm so fucking. I just don't get it.
When he publishes Dianetics in 1950, the self-help books were a thing.
Right.
And he latches onto that and comes up with his own version of it. And what he does, the experts say, is he takes little bits of real stuff, but then he twists it around and creates his own thing. So
Sounds like religion.
it's it's loosely based on some things that are known in, like,
Right.
psychology, but they denounce psychology. They think this replaces having to go to a shrink, And so, therapy sessions, obviously everybody knows what those are, but in Scientology, they're called auditing
Audits.
sessions. So they're just different names for it. And so he claims that the mind is divided into two parts: the analytical side, which is like a computer that records everything, and then the reactive, which is where the negative things trigger us to be afraid, or you develop, psychological issues. These negative thoughts, he calls them engrams, and they need to be scrubbed from your mind in order for you to be called clear. And it is very confusing. I just tried to very much simplify it. I do not want to spend 2 hours talking about Scientology. It's just too ridiculous.
We're just talking about his life.
Yeah.
And not a fucking anatomy major surgeon doctor in the fucking world has ever agreed to what he said.
Not one.
So
Yeah, I remember listening to Dan Cummins' Time Suck. He reads some of the feedback that was like Isaac Asimov, like these famous science fiction writers that were like, this is the most awful thing I've ever read in my life. Like, that bad. I mean, it was that bad. The book becomes a success, though, and Hubbard is going around doing fucking lectures, auditing sessions on stage, which is basically a lie detector test, like 1/3 of what a lie detector does, which is pulse. There's 3 things it checks. This is one of those 3. So it's like a dumbed down lie detector called an E-meter is what he calls it. And you got literally 2 empty soup cans attached with wire clamps,
and they just make
to this E-meter.
It's trying to make you think it's giving you some kind of number and shit.
Right. It's all bullshit. They had one of the docs I watched, they have like an expert take this thing apart, and he's like, this is absolutely fucking absurd. I mean, it doesn't do anything. Depends on how hard you squeeze the can. That impacts it. It means nothing. It's complete bullshit. But according to Hubbard, this E-meter, is supposed to show that they are experiencing the negative feelings, the engrams, and then when they clear you, then there's no engrams there. It's such a bunch of bullshit. But he is selling these fucking things. I actually went on eBay and looked.
yeah.
They're like $400, $500, $600 for these fucking things. Still, yeah. Because I was going to buy one if they were cheap, just to
get
have
for like
it.
$20,
Be funny, yeah,
$25.
totally.
Sounds
Would have been all over it. But no, they're not. They're not cheap. But he winds up, he makes a lot of money, but he spends money. He's just really dumb when it comes to that. So he eventually goes bankrupt over this. But Joey, he is very smart. He realizes that people are willing to pay to feel better and to achieve that inner peace. So he fucking ratchets it up even more.
Yeah.
I mean, he takes it further.
Right. He's like, well, okay, well, I've got these people, believe in the path that I'm telling them to take, and they're kind of believing in my theories and concepts that I've just fucking come up with out of my head.
Right.
So, hey, why don't I push this to become an organized religion for real?
Right.
Even though we've said that it's not religion.
Right.
And now let's say it's a religion. And why? Because the fucking breaks that you get,
Yeah.
you can't touch them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very smart. He calls it Scientology, and he knows he's going to be tax exempt, as you point out. So the government can't come take his money. He's much more protected. Can't really fuck with them too easily.
How do they go about that to declare themselves a religion that's noticed through government entities and shit.
I don't know. I'm sure there's forms to fill out, and then they have to justify. There's the way they define it. It's like they're doing good for the community.
Right.
So they have to show that the money coming in is being spent on the community. They can't just take it and just hoard it.
Right.
And that's where we'll get into that here in a minute.
What about Joel Osteen, bro? Look at him.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. And then a lot of these guys, of course, they've got all the accountants that can put the money wherever they need to be putting the money. And as Chris, you pointed out, another author once told him when he was bitching about he wasn't making any money, he says, if you want to get rich, start a religion. And so all of a sudden, boom, his second book, which is where the e-meter thing came in, would have people pay him to study to be an auditor. So there's classes they have to take, paying him to do it, and then buy a meter, paying him. And then he gets 10 or 15% of everything they make.
Basically getting
it's a pyramid,
dues.
basically.
Yeah, a pyramid scheme. Yeah.
So as
Flip it
many of
upside
these
down.
as many of these people are out there selling stuff, he's getting a piece of all of that. So it's pretty impressive, or Scientology was. So this whole becomes a huge thing. And he actually said, Hubbard, that he was going for the religion angle with the second book. So he's not even trying to hide it. And, you got people taking these fucking classes. It is ridiculously expensive. You watch those documentaries, they talk with people hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not even exaggerating.
No, not at all.
They make you take out loans. They had some of these former Scientologists that used to do this. They said that they'd high pressure you the fucking hell. They have you fill out or they do it for you, all these credit card applications. And then you're getting approved at these crazy high interest rates for $10,000, $20,000, whatever. And then they make you sign this again. Like you said, Chris, how the fuck are they making a motherfucker sign it? They're coming in and fucking signing this shit because they're showing up at your work. They're showing up at your house.
Oh yeah, they're
like relentless with
like,
this shit.
Like last week with Jones, he's making people sign these confessions for shit they didn't. It's kind of like how they force them to pay to sign this shit. Like,
right.
It's
they had a husband and wife on there that were just like, oh my God, what they were doing to him, And, you're talking, when you get up in those higher levels, you're talking, I'm not even exaggerating, 200,000 or 300,000 to get to that. I mean, who has that kind of money? That's fucking insane. Now, they're making millions each year as these churches are popping up all over the place. So 1967 rolls around. The IRS is like, look, L. Ron Hubbard, you are making way too much fucking money to be tax exempt. So they lose the tax exempt status in 1967. So now he's got all this money rolling in, but now he's paying taxes on this shit.
Son of a bitch.
And he's freaking the fuck out. And he decides to avoid the government, and he decides to take to the seas. So Chris, he loved being out on the water,
Dude,
so he puts on one of those fucking hats.
Like they spent a lot of time out at sea, dude.
Months.
Isn't that fucked up too, though? Like, that shows our government. Like, oh, you did everything that you were supposed to do to be tax exempt and everything, but guess what? Now we don't like it. Now we're going to shut you down.
Right?
It's like, that's some bogus shit, really.
Well, like I said, though, I mean, you have to be able to show you're putting out, I don't know how they figure out how much you got to put out of what comes in, but he was keeping way too much for them to say he was being, tax exempt. So he starts the Sea Org, which is the devoted Scientologists sailing around the world, Chris, basically doing nothing, getting paid, though, little for working their fucking asses off.
On the ship constantly.
Yeah, 16-hour days. They said the most you could make was $50.
A week.
A week. Yeah, working 7 days a week, 16-hour days, just working yourself to death. On this fucking boat, just rambling around the ocean with no real place to go. They sign a billion, that's with a B.
Year contract.
Yeah, because they feel in your other lives you're going to still do this.
Your lives after
it's
you
fucking
die.
Ridiculous. There was one person that talked about they were supposed to get a refund, and the person seriously told them that we'll keep this on your account so in your next life you could come back and use the credit.
It,
no,
they don't work that way, boy.
I want a check, fool. I mean, seriously. And and they move up what they call the bridge. And as you move up to each level, you got to take all these courses and buy these books and these DVDs. It's incredibly, incredibly expensive. And, the thing is, like you said, Chris, is this outlandish story that Hubbard creates. And apparently when you get to a certain one of the high levels, Leah Remini talks about this in her show, you get like you spend years and years, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you get to a certain level, and the secret that you're given is in a manila envelope, and it's got one piece of paper in it. And you're allowed to go into a room and open this up. So, I mean, talking about very dramatic, right?
Right.
You open this up, and it's like a poorly written couple of paragraphs from L. Ron Hubbard about 75 million years ago that there was an evil lord named Xenu who froze everybody and left them on planet Earth.
And now they're flying around.
And now they're flying around.
What was the part about the volcano and shit?
I don't even, dude, it's absolute insanity. So, I mean, imagine the frustration of all this money and all this shit, and you're like, Xenu? Are you fucking kidding me? 75 million years ago? I mean, how does he possibly know this shit? It's just absolutely crazy. And he's wearing his naval hat. He's just sailing around.
Work for him, though. Shit.
People are doing this shit for him. The IRS, is probably on his ass, but they can't go in the water, so he's just floating around. Australia bans him. I'm sure others did as well, but I did see that.
I remember hearing one story. They docked up in Portugal, somewhere in Portugal or whatever. They came out fucking like throwing rocks at the ship, fucking.
Oh wow!
Thinking it was a CIA or something, like chanting CIA and all this shit. Fucking.
Oh wow! There was somewhere else. Now that I think of it, it was they spoke a different language where they thought they were like. I think we were thinking about Guyana with Jim Jones, where they were calling them charlatans. Like they knew.
Yeah.
There was the locals. They know the deal. They know the deal. So Chris, L. Ron Hubbard seems like a nice guy in person, but he's doing some devious shit. He starts calling people suppressives or SPs, suppressive persons. And then if you're labeled an SP, you are completely ostracized. You're not allowed to associate with your family anyway, but you have to completely, block them off, which is fucked up. And so people are just, separated from their family. They can't see them.
That's just another way to control them, I think. Like if you don't stay with our rules,
right,
you got to go, and you better stay with our rules, or we might kill you. They never did kill anybody, but you never fucking
not that
know.
we know.
What did they call the Jonestown people?
I don't remember.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah.
The term that Jones would call them, dissenters.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So very similar in a lot of these
defectors.
stories.
That's what we call them, defectors.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities in these, which is very interesting. So L. Ron Hubbard dies of a stroke in 1986. The church is then taken over by David Miscavige. He is very controversial. He's like 5'5". He's this little motherfucker, but he's fucking feisty and very fucking amped up. Works like a fucking workaholic. Like I said earlier, we could really go into the weeds with this one, but I don't want to do it. I don't really care about Scientology.
It's just crazy
but
story.
It is a crazy one for sure. The shit that people claim they've done to him, though, is absolutely unbelievable. There are stories of Miscavige putting people in what they call the hole, which is 2 double-wide trailers all boarded up, and people are in this thing for years. They are humiliated, punched, kicked. They're fucking surrounded by fences and razor wire. I mean, this is like fucking prison shit, His own father, Miscavige's own father, had to escape. His wife, Shelley, has been missing since 2005, and nobody knows where she is.
Well, that's a little sus.
Yeah, a little bit. Plenty of people that were in Scientology claim they saw Miscavige punch, kick, and do all sorts of people. I saw one where he took 2 guys' heads and smashed them together and then put his arms around them and squeezed it. One guy had blood coming out of his ears. like really bad, So I mean, very, very violent.
But nobody's ever been in trouble for any of this. Your dad's been fucking locked up and he escapes, but you don't get like.
Yeah, it's absolutely insanity because there's been a lot of people coming forward and making these claims, but the problem is when they investigate, there's no proof, and all these other brainwashed people, they're not going to fucking turn them in. So that's the problem. Is you got a few voices, but the overwhelming voice on the other side is like, there's no problem here.
Right.
You got famous people like fucking Tom Cruise, John Travolta, Kirstie Alley. There's a bunch of them that have been very outspoken supporters of Scientology, and it is definitely fucking weird. But aside from the violent shit and not letting people leave, I don't know there's that much of a difference between it and organized religion. But of course, the violent shit and not letting people leave is the big problem here,
But I feel like there must be some kind of like fucking extreme spots or cases where that's going on, because Scientology can be found all over the fucking country, and you can go to a fucking Scientology church near you, and it's probably like, besides all the weirdness and stuff for those people, it probably is very much just like going to church,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think people are getting put in the hole here in Bloomington, Illinois.
No, not here. No, we're talking about it. They've got many
like headquarters.
Headquarters.
Yeah.
Those people.
But what
that
I'm
work
saying
there.
is, but there's still enough of it around everywhere else with these people just attending services or whatever they're doing,
right,
that it's going to come across as religion to most of the spots, and then anywhere else that's too fucked up or anything that's happening is going to become like a Waco situation, or
right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't blame the whole religion for what the Waco party did or the Koresh family,
right?
Even though maybe you should. You know what I'm saying? You don't blame the whole Catholic Church for this priest.
Yeah, I don't know what they do at the individual, but like they were showing buildings, these elaborate multi-million-dollar buildings where there's nobody in them.
Yeah.
So they have to show that they're giving back to the community by opening up these community centers, but they're empty. There's nobody in them. So a lot of this is gathering property for wealth, but making it look like they're giving back to the community. So it's very, very strange. The Catholics, the Jews, Muslims are not forced to follow. They're not destroyed personally. They're not sucked dry for money.
I mean,
you want to throw money
I'm not
in the
going to
hat?
agree with that statement, but I think almost every one of them religions fucking sucks a lot of people dry for a lot of shit.
I don't know. I mean, yes,
Just my
you're
personal
encouraged to
steps.
give them money,
Right.
but you're not forced to take credit cards out and run your debt up to $50,000.
I don't know. I feel like there's
Some of that
cases
shit.
that's been done for fucking every religion. I lived out in California, and the lady who I lived with, my buddy's grandma, she went to this fucking evangelical church, whatever. I don't know what if it was, what denomination, but this is a church where they fucking have the big screen and they're fucking doing all the show
mega
stuff.
church and shit.
And
Right.
I know for a fact herself gave hundreds of dollars every single week to this church. And that's her. And this is in Irvine, California, fucking rich shit.
Right.
So she's one of thousands of people that would go there every week.
Sure.
And this is a Christian religion.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying is every one of these religions, they're fucking sucking people dry in all these places. But if these people are okay with it and they feel like their life has been made better for it, who am I to ever fucking talk shit about
Well,
it?
sure. Yeah, of course.
But I feel like they all suck them dry though.
Now, there was one case in the early 70s of a woman that got out of Scientology, and she was framed into making bomb threats. They took a letter and got her fingerprints on the letter and then sent it to themselves and then said she sent the letter. Like this really confusing thing. But they were like, she was going to go away for a long time until the FBI did a raid and they found where they had her fingerprints like on, I don't know how they had them like on a tape. And then they transferred it. Yeah. I mean, that's some pretty fucking crazy shit.
Yeah.
And so, people genuinely want to feel better and they turn to them, and it's unfortunate that they're being taken advantage of and squeezed like that. It's just fucked up. Now, Joey, David Miscavige eventually wins the battle with the IRS. They fucking had like 1,400 lawsuits against individuals at the IRS. Got him to forgive $1 billion of back taxes and give them their tax exempt status back again.
Yeah. So I'm saying there's too many people believing in what they're talking about, and there's too many people in high fucking areas that believe in it, because that's how they're fucking getting away with all this shit. Is there's obviously up the pole somewhere,
like a celebrity status and shit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and that's why, as fucking moronic and idiotic as it all sounds, like, who am I to fucking say shit? Because goddamn, the government's got their back apparently.
Yeah.
Fucking famous people got their back.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I don't understand how the fuck anybody could believe a goddamn thing of it, but I also don't believe how anybody could believe a thing that's in the Bible. So I can't look at one person and then the other.
Right.
I'm just like, okay, you believe your shit, I'm gonna believe mine, and let's coexist that way, because fuck, we're gonna butt heads if we try to get into this too much.
I'm gonna fucking start up Shawback Nation Salvation.
There you go.
I mean, it's a very fucking smart policy that me and a lot of my friends keep, that we've definitely just tried to never talk about religion or politics, because
it gets people mad.
Yeah, and it's a impossible argument, much like abortion, because both sides are never going to see themselves as wrong, and both sides are always going to look at the other as the fucking adversary. So you can't have a fucking rational outcome come out of that situation. So the best thing to do is just fucking mind everybody else's
good.
views.
No, that's good. I agree.
But yeah, they gave them fucking tax exempt status again.
Yeah, I mean, fucked up. So L. Ron Hubbard, a very interesting guy to say the least. He had a lot of talents, but like we've seen before with people we feature, he used them in a very negative way to steal money from innocent people. It's ruined a lot of lives, a very terrible legacy, but they looked to him like a god. Yeah, like Gacy. And there is one location that has underground vaults where they're taking his printed words and etching them into metal plates, and then putting the metal plates in titanium safes to preserve them forever.
Why, dude?
There are like
the
3 locations.
It's like the Ten Commandments. It's like Joseph Smith and the fucking whatever, the plates he found.
Yes.
So
they've
weird.
got, I can't remember what they call it. It's like this gigantic complex where they're digging underground,
making a vault
to put
basically.
These vaults, and then they're etching. They showed the fucking process. It's like etched into like these metal plates, and then they put the metal plates between titanium, and then put that in. Yeah, it's like fucking insane.
God damn.
Imagine that's all you did was that.
So that fucking nuclear holocaust or something hits, those things will be fucking
preserved forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
like,
he's
this
in
is the new religion
I
of the
think
whole
he's in the
world.
Guinness Book of World Records for the most books ever written.
I think so.
It's like 1,000 or
God
some
damn.
crazy shit. Yeah, it's like unbelievable. So I mean, like we said, wacky as fuck, but certainly a smart guy to be able to glom onto that whole concept and get people to buy into it. So
it's like, when do you find that fucking area of your life
right
that you fail, boom, you hit it,
right?
Like you
And
see
then
it with
don't
every
fuck
one
it
of
up.
these cult leaders. Yeah, and how do they fuck it up? They get into weapons, they get into murder, and they get into fucking militant
Drugs.
actions and
Hard drugs like with Jones.
yeah, if you're one of these cult leaders, and there's fucking tons of them that have fucking little sects like this, and you never do nothing like that to get yourself on a radar, you'll get away with it forever.
Right.
And there's fucking a lot of those that do that
I'm
we'll never
sure.
talk about, but the ones that fuck up get too much power to their head and fucking.
That's true, man.
Yeah.
It's true. So we could have spent a lot more time talking about Scientology, but as we all agree, it's too much.
Yeah, his story is just a wacky motherfucker.
It
itself.
is. The L. Ron Hubbard story is an interesting one. Our listeners can always dig deeper if they want to find out more. Anything
there's
you guys
more.
want to? You get anything you guys want to add to this? Want to talk about operating thetans and
No, I'm
all that
fucking
kind of
good,
stuff?
man.
Yeah, I know. I did my research to the point where I wanted to throw up. There's a ton of stuff out there about L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology, but as I said, be careful, because if you just Google it, you have to look at what you're reading, because a lot of their stuff is from their websites. And you could see it right in the name, Scientology Today or whatever.
Yeah.
So make sure that what you're reading is something impartial, because they're going to make him sound like
Like a
fucking
god.
a god, literally. But when you actually look at the story, and I was surprised Wikipedia was pretty close on most of it. They had a lot of the stuff that I put out. It was stuff I got there, but verified by other sources. So the Scientology people are very good at flooding the internet with stuff. They're very, very aggressive legally. If somebody's doing something, I'm sure Leah Remini's probably met with major.
Oh yeah, I remember
issues.
hearing about her fucking background shit, dude.
The really good one was called Going Clear. The good documentary I watched on HBO, really interesting. Gets into the weird stuff where they follow you around with cameras and shit like that. The Leah Remini show was very good. It's a multi-part. I don't know if it's more than a season, but it was good. She has a lot of the former Scientologists on there. She was in it.
Right.
She went up really high up and then finally got away from it. But she was like born into it. She was like 8 or 9 years old.
Huh.
There was a documentary from the 70s that was done in Canada that I thought was pretty good on YouTube. It had a lot of, like, there was a family that was arguing because the mother wouldn't admit she was taken advantage of by Scientology, and she was getting really upset at him. It was funny because they were like yelling at each other and trying to be like civil in front of the camera.
Right, and they're just going at each other.
Yeah, and
like,
it's from the 70s, so they're all wearing like this crazy
polyester fucking big old butterfly collar.
Yeah,
shit.
totally. It's funny. So check that out. There was also the Dan Cummins Time Suck podcast, which was great. It was one of his early episodes, one of like within the first 10, I think. It was an early one. But there's a lot of stuff out there. As you mentioned, Joey, the South Park.
Yeah.
That was fucking great.
That's just funny as shit.
That's really
and
funny.
the whole time they're telling the whole story of the Scientology, they got it on the screen. This is what Scientologists actually believe.
says. Yeah. Yeah. It's because it sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Xenu and all that stuff. Now, next week, as we mentioned, we're going to be doing Brutal Rewind number 6 on Gacy. Tex had told me about a docuseries called Deadly Legacy about the search for the unidentified Gacy victims. There's 8 or 9 of them. I thought it would be, good for a Brutal Rewind.
Hell yeah.
3 cases that this cop investigates to see if they were Gacy victims, and we'll reveal that next week in Brutal Rewind number 6. Remember, Brutal Rewind is just on one topic that we've covered before, and they're
Pretty
about
short,
30,
yeah.
45 minutes. So those are short ones, and we're doing that one. And, of course, those are brought to you exclusively by Shaker
Shakers.
Cigar Bar. So we also did our interview with Steve Stout, the author of the Starved Rock Murders. That was awesome.
Great interview. Like, if we had had more time, we could have got, like, so much more. Dude.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we went a full hour talking to Steve. He's really cool. We're going to be doing the Starved Rock Murders in our 3-year anniversary episode coming up in a couple weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So that was good to talk to him. And that's a full hour. 666 Club members, you already got that. And that'll be released sometime later in April. But the Starved Rock episode is here in a couple weeks. So that should be awesome. All right, well, we've done our fair share of murdering tonight, guys. I hear that familiar music, so CK blowing that birthday fucking trumpet over there on Wild Man. So, Joey, the fuck we got to do now?
Let's get our metal on.
Known the world over as the master of metal, the crusher of posers, and Murder Metal Mayhem's knower of all things metal, hailing from Wild Man Street in Danbury, Connecticut, standing at 6 feet of brutal, punishing madness, weighing in at 220 pounds of poser pulverization. The one, the only, toughest bastard on the planet, Chris C.K. Kovacs!
There he is, birthday boy,
Birthday
CK.
boy, what's happening?
What's going on, dude?
Ooh, what's up?
Yeah, I heard you were running up and down Wild Man Street naked with just the birthday hat on, screaming.
Yeah.
Screaming
people.
Prong lyrics.
And it wasn't on your head.
With a walker.
Well, I'm glad that you're here with us, CK, and it is your birthday tomorrow, but we're talking about it today because by the time this episode comes out, it'll be tomorrow.
It'll be the day after your birthday.
Yeah,
After.
be yesterday.
The Patreon guys get it on your birthday.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
exactly.
So good to have you, CK, and you got a good one for us tonight, going a little old school.
Fuck yeah.
Another New York band to satisfy. They would do more New York bands.
Angel from the Bronx.
From the Bronx.
Hey,
I'm doing Prong tonight.
Fuck
nice.
yeah.
And Prong from 86, and Tommy Victor has been the only member throughout the whole existence of the band. I mean, they had a shitload of people in and out. But the original band was Ted Parsons, and the drummer was
God, their drummer was
many
God.
Let me use God.
No, among
We just got done talking about God, L. Ron Hubbard.
among many drummers was what was his name? No, Ted Parsons was the drummer, and the original bassist was shit.
Dang, CK, what's up,
Uh-oh.
man?
Mike Kirkland.
Right on.
So they pretty much have always been a three-piece throughout the existence, four-piece here and there, and they met at CBGB's because Tommy Victor was the longtime sound person for CBGB's. Pretty much ran the board there for the most part of the 80s. And I believe Ted Parsons was the doorman. So they formed in 86, put out an EP/album in 89 or in 88. That was very, very primitive. I mean, very primitive as far as albums go. And that's why it was called Primitive Origins.
Okay.
All right, that fucking
Makes sense.
That's fucking. Oh yeah. It's just
Impossible
like
to
recording
find.
straight up with a microphone out the boombox and shit, basically.
No, it's in the recording studio. It's just that.
Very basic.
Yeah. And quickly followed up by the album Force Fed, which is the first time I've heard him. Was Force Fed. And another primitive album, and that caught the ear of Epic Records in 1990, and that's when most people actually hooked up with them. They put out Bake the Differ in 1990.
Yeah.
And I remember when I bought mine, I opened up the CD, and it had no label on the CD.
That's weird.
It's like a blank disc, basically.
It was a blank. It looked like a blank disc. So, I mean, it played fine, but I went out and got another one. I never played that one again, hoping that maybe at some point it'll be worth like $100,000.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
some kind
some
of
rare
fucking
one.
flawed fucking disc or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
it's
And,
like somebody bought a copy of Roasting Posers, the heavycore DVD, and they got it, and it was like a training video for some business.
What?
And I sent them another copy of it. I'm
Right.
like, but hang on to that because
Yeah.
that might be worth some money someday.
the
Because
hell?
Yeah, who
it was
knows?
obviously from the factory. They just must have run
Yeah.
over with the training video, and it got stuck with our graphic on it and ended
Yeah.
up in a jewel case. Yeah.
Strangely, Alan Gillespie, our friend from Champaign, he ordered one of my CDs, and I sent it to him or whatever, and the case was, everything about it looked like it was my CD, but the audio on it was the Bill Nye CD.
Oh, for real?
Which
That's
is
weird.
ironic because they're both under my label.
Yeah.
But it's like, how did you just happen to put that one
That's
on
weird.
there?
Yeah.
I told him
So-
the same thing. I said, hold on to it.
Yeah,
fuck.
stranger things have happened, so that's funny. it
whoever
happened to
pressed
them.
it fucked up.
Yep,
Yeah, I
yep.
guess.
Yeah, so they put out Big to Differ, did really well.
Which also, I will say, had the awesome artwork by Pusshead,
Yes, it did.
who did some
Actually, I
of
think the
Metallica's
first
early
couple
work.
albums did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Tommy Kirkland pretty much left after that album and was replaced by former Flotsam and Jetsam bassist Troy Gregory, who was the bassist after Jason Newsted. And they put out their fourth release, Prove You Wrong, which saw the band kind of experimenting a little bit with samples and stuff like that, because that came out in 91. So music was changing at the time, especially metal. It was still a thrash album, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I loved the album. I thought it was a great album.
That's my favorite one, personally.
Still signed to
Epic
Records, and in 94 they put out another great album, which was also kind of a little experimental, Cleansing, which had the which did really well. I mean, MTV played this video all the time. Snap your fingers, snap your neck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you hear that song constantly, pretty much all the time. And then 96 they put out Rude Awakening. And that was it as far as them for their ties to Epic. And I believe after that is when they pretty much split, with Tommy Victor joining Danzig for a couple years as his guitar player, and Ted Parsons joining Godflesh. In 2002, I think it was like 5 years after that, they were on hiatus, disbanded, however you want to put it. They reformed on Al Jorgensen's label for Megaforce Records. He had an imprint, and put out to me it was a comeback album. They put out Scorpio Rising in 2003, which kind of went back to more of the sound of Beg to Differ for what I thought was Beg to Differ and Prove You Wrong. And ever since then, they've been together ever since. Granted, Tommy Victor's probably had like 30 different band members throughout this time. No, on a consistent basis, he's releasing albums for the most part. I mean, Power of the Damager was 2007. 2012 was Carved in Stone. Ruining Lives was 2014. And the latest album, 0 Days, was in 2017. Albeit among different labels, probably like 3 or 4 different labels altogether.
Still, though, that's cool. He's been able to keep it going, man.
Yeah, I mean, they've been keeping it going, and he's been making a living out of it. So, in this time of day and time, it's almost impossible to make a living out of playing music. But
yeah,
he seems to do it. But they're still together, still putting out albums. Still, not touring right now, but up until the pandemic, they were touring, and pretty much all their stuff is still available on CD. You could get it. If not, you could definitely listen to it on any streaming device that you may have, or platform that you have.
Right.
But definitely check them out. They've been around a while. They're a veteran band, and give Prong a chance. I would start with Beg to Differ and just move on up from there. To me, Beg to Differ and Prove You Wrong are probably the 2 key albums for them, I think.
Right.
As far as them as a band.
Very cool. Well, hopefully turning on some people to a band maybe they forgot about or hadn't heard in a while. You got another good lost classic for us tonight,
Fuck
CK.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And give me 1 second. I think I got to sneeze.
Uh-oh. All that fucking running up and down wild, man.
You're getting excited for your lost classic.
Yeah, I know. Plus, he's been running around naked, so he's fucking got a cold now. So
yeah, it's a little chilly outside today, too. No, I'm good. I thought I had to sneeze. Yeah, the last Exciter album, Death Machine.
Yeah, you just talked
came out
about
to-
Exciter. We just
Yeah.
featured them not too long ago, so
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, the album came out in 2012, but really never didn't really get any as far as any push from the label, and didn't really go too far. And I think it's a great album. It's up there right along with the first couple Exciter albums
Oh, that's cool.
that they did with Megaforce. Still available on CD, and you could stream that one as well. Again, check out Death Machine, and along with the rest of their catalog. Their whole catalog is amazing to me. A great thrash band from the 80s,
Yeah,
early
Canadian
90s.
band.
Canadian. Started out as a 3-piece.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Hell yeah. Very cool. Well, I think I hear that music coming from across the pond.
Onslaught.
That's telling us we're going to talk about what we've been listening to. All right, 6 fucking 6. Our friends at Onslaught letting us use that clip.
Cheerio.
And whenever we hear it, that means we're going to talk about what we've been listening to. And Chris, what about you lately, man?
I don't know, different things. I listen some Grindzilla again lately just because I can't help dancing around work.
Yeah,
listening to
Grindzilla's good, man. Every
I
time
like
I've
it.
been over at the shed, he's played that.
I don't know what else. Fucking some Brother Lynch hung.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking our homie Chris Gorsma was talking about. I know you not a fucking fan, but Cold Chamber they put out an album a while ago that I had never even heard of. Fucking called Rivals. So I checked.
That came out like 2014.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's actually not bad.
No,
I
it's
prefer.
fucking decent, dude. I like it. I mean, it's got that Cold Chamber vibe to it, but it's heavier. The songs are fucking tight, dude. I checked that out and I was really digging it. So
Yeah,
That's
it takes
cool.
more from the from Devil Driver than it does from Cold Chamber.
right.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's
What
fucking-
about you, Joey?
We were jamming Prong Beg to Differ, getting ready for CK's talking about them. In the car, I got intestinal alien reflux, cuff, and a Borning 3-way split, entwined human remnants.
It's a good split.
Yeah, fucking awesome. Sanguis Sugarbog.
Yeah.
They dropped their album Tortured Whole on fucking Century Media this week, so that's been fucking blowing up. And because of CK, not fully because of CK, because I would eventually got around to it, but I've been jamming that Rob Zombie, his new album, The Lunar Injection Kool-Aid
Oh, yeah, I
Eclipse
like it.
Conspiracy. It's fucking good, man. It's a good album. It's got a little bit of different stuff to it, but it still has a lot of heavy elements, but it's a very enjoyable album for me to listen to. So
I like it.
Yeah.
I
So I've actually spun it multiple times.
That's cool. That's cool. What about you, CK?
I've been listening to that Rob Zombie too. It's a really good album, especially because it's been a while since he put out an album. So,
Right.
and I've been listening to Still in Malice's Wake and Harler still on my fucking playlist.
Yeah.
And I've been listening to just a variety of shit. The New Enforced, Carcass.
Nice.
That's pretty much it.
Hell yeah.
Well, we just did the interview with Enforced over the weekend, and we asked them that question I've been asking a lot is, what bands are you guys digging? They rattled off a few, and I checked out one of them, High Command. Wow, those guys are badass.
They're good too.
Their last
I didn't realize
album.
I had.
That's
had the
funny.
CD.
Yeah, you said, "Holy shit, I got the CD."
Yeah,
Beyond
I-
the Wall of Desolation is fucking wicked. Definitely very heavy, thrashy, little death metal in there. They're good. I really dig them. And unfortunately, with doing L. Ron Hubbard this week, I watched way too much Scientology shit, and my brain hurts. So all I could muster was a little Enforced and High Command, Beyond the Wall of Desolation, good shit. But yeah, we did the interview with those guys and Enforced. That was cool. Knox,
Hell yeah.
the singer, and Will, the guitar player. And we're going to be doing a feature on them in the next episode, the 3-year anniversary show. So that should be good. And we'll play a little bit of that interview with them, and then we'll release the whole interview, which isn't that long. It's probably 18 minutes, I think. And we'll release that the day after the episode comes out, so you get both in the same week. So that should be good. And, of course, We always talk about the 666 Club because it's a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, it is.
Support us by going to patreon.com/murdermetalmayhem.
Yep.
And
$3
become a
and you'd
666.
have that enforced interview right now.
You would.
$3 and you'd be listening to fucking this episode on CK's birthday instead of the day after.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you
Even
can
more
hear all
reason.
the bonus stuff we've done, the Ramirez episode, the Capone, all the different interviews. I always release them on the 666 Club members first. So, like, for example, the full interview that we did with Steve Stout on the Starved Rock murders, they've already got that.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already got the whole thing. So there's a lot of benefit, and it's only $3 a month, and that's it. So we'll link to that in the episode description, but we appreciate you guys supporting that. And all you guys that are 666 Club members, you guys kick fucking
Oh,
ass.
yeah,
So
thanks a
thank
lot.
you.
If you're 555, then I'm 666.
Now, don't forget to order one of these new shirts we've got, the new zombie shirts that we had.
Which
Jeff
I'm wearing
Gaither.
at the moment.
Are you wearing it? Fuck
Yes, I
yeah.
am.
They're sick.
Yeah, they did come out good. Jeff Gaither
yeah.
did the artwork. They look amazing. Full color, both sides. We'll link to that in the episode description. You can get a new shirt. And this, for the month of April, I'm going to be doing a special where for $5 more, you get one of the original shirts while they last.
Hell yeah.
And I'm even going to do one better. I'm throwing in a copy of Roasting Posers DVD.
Oh, shit.
So you get 2 shirts
Hell
and a
yeah.
DVD for like $25 plus shipping.
Hell yeah.
It's a pretty good deal. So I'm going to be releasing that probably this weekend on Facebook and stuff. So keep your eyes out for
And
that.
if you ask very nicely, I might shave my pubes in your box.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Put it in the envelope.
There you
That'd
go.
be nice. That'd be nice. All right. Well, we've done plenty of metal tonight.
Fuck.
So, CK, tell us what the fuck we got to do, man.
We got to get our Mayhem on.
Well, gentlemen, it's almost that time of the year again, Mother's Day. Looking for that perfect gift to give for that special lady in your life who's got a bit of a stinky cooter? Well, look no further. Our special Dr. Gein's Pussy Potpourri offers a solution when that mother in your life drops her drawers and it smells like someone stuffed a trout under your bed for a month. Our new Dr. Gein's Pussy Potpourri is wonderful, and you'll think she's been rolling around in a bed of roses. Mention Stank-Ass Mom when you call for a 10% discount. Dr. Gein's Vagina Maintenance cares about mothers and has been taking care of nasty poontang since 1955. God damn. God damn.
Oh, man. Joey just crushing it with the
I'll
Dr.
tell you
Gein.
what, Dr. Gein Vagina Maintenance was offering 10% discount. We're giving you 15% off your rotten cotton purchase if you
That's
use
right.
our fucking code. So
That's
go do
right.
that.
Got all kinds of discounts here. Hell yeah. All right. Well, we are in Mayhem. And before that was Prong, of course. Snap your fingers. Snap your neck. Fucking
And
badass.
that's one of their most covered songs by any
Oh,
other
yeah.
band.
Oh, I'm
of
sure. I'm sure. Yeah, it's a good one, man. So here we are in Mayhem. And Chris, you said you had a little Mayhem story to share with
Yeah,
us.
nothing crazy, but so like back when I first started my job that I've been working at for so long, I want to kill myself. It was a smaller business, a way smaller business than what it is now. So like I worked directly with the owners at the time. They no longer own it. They sold whatever, but I'd work directly with the owners at the time. So we just get crazy at work doing dumb shit. And it came to one point where we were always lighting bottle rockets at work and shooting them at each other.
Oh, wow.
All kinds of weird shit. And we always hated it when my brother, sorry, Michael, dude. We always hated it when my brother fucking go take a shit because it'd smell the whole fucking place up.
Oh, wow.
So, like, anytime he'd be in the fucking bathroom fucking taking a shit, we fucking just start shooting bottle rockets in the bathroom underneath the door and shit. And it was
nice.
a small bathroom and shit.
Oh, nice.
So, fucking, there's bottle rockets flying in there when he's shitting and whatnot. We're just like, fuck you, dude. Fucking.
And Michael shits for a long time.
Yeah, but right, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So,
20 minutes. or so.
dude, fucking for real. So one day he got wise, and he put something underneath the door to block that shit, so we couldn't shoot bottle rockets in there.
But then he's like gassing himself out.
Right? Yeah, I mean, shit. Yeah, but so we're
Give
like,
and
man,
take.
fuck that. So what we did was we just took like a 3 or 4 foot piece of electrical conduit and just shoved it through the wall, and we just started shooting the bottle rockets through the fucking conduit. Just a
that's awesome,
so we're just
dude.
shooting bottle rockets into the fucking bathroom through the wall and everybody, and we'd do that. Like we'd shoot bottle rockets at everybody all the fucking time. Like middle of doing something, next thing you know, you're getting cracked with a bottle rocket, whatever. Like what the fuck, dude?
Damn.
And one time I shot one at one of the owners of the company. We're fucking around. I shot it right at him, smacked him in the neck, and exploded on impact. And he had like a baseball-sized welt on his neck for like fucking days, dude. It was so. We're just
I know you're not talking about Hank.
No,
because that would have been bigger than Hank.
Yeah, that right. No shit. It was Hank.
And it's good,
Yeah,
good
it's
thing
Hank.
that Chris Durr doesn't work with you because he wouldn't be able to get his business done with bottle rocket shooting.
Dude, we did so much. I could tell some more stories about that shit from back in the day at some point, but goddamn, damn, just the bottle rocket shit, shooting him at
That's
Michael in the
good.
bathroom was fun. Sorry,
That's
Michael,
great.
love you, bro.
Yeah, 20 minutes shitting though, man. That's brutal.
No, that's no bullshit. If Michael go to the bathroom, you're not going to see him for a while. We're going to talk about your brother's bowel movements and mayhem.
Fucking right.
Nothing is sacred. All right. I released another Voice of Dread podcast. Brad Tucker on again. This time, though, is his role in the funeral direction business.
Yeah.
Embalming. I mean, we talked about some pretty gruesome stuff, but we were really talking about grave bells, which is a really interesting topic, an old custom of putting a bell on a dead body to make sure they're dead when they're in the ground. And so we talk about that.
And also the catalyst for one of your new short stories.
That's right. That's
Well,
right.
yeah,
The bells
and I
of
read it.
San
It was a good
Pedro.
story.
That's right. Thank you. So I wanted to play like a 7 or 8 minute clip of my conversation with Brad Tucker.
Exactly.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I was just very blown away by it. I thought it was really good. Some horror movies just really disappoint me, but that one was really, really good. And to me, as a layman, I thought it seemed fairly realistic, or at least, you know, done well enough to where it didn't seem like, oh, come on, you know, this just is silly. But the grave bell thing, I mean, they had them in there where they were working, the bodies that were in those like drawers. What are those called? They put the body in like a drawer that slides in.
Yeah, that would just be like we would just call it a cooler, or more specifically, it would be like a morgue tray.
Okay.
The morgue being the actual room that the bodies are in, and then the cooler or the refrigeration unit or climate control, could be 100 other things that people call just the actual cooler where the bodies are, but those would be called morgue trays.
Morgue trays. Okay. Because I want to get my my technical jargon here with you. But the grave bell thing, they had them on the bodies in there. And of course, the concept is what, Tucker? What is the deal with these grave bells?
Well, the concept of a grave bell and the concept of a grave bell in the autopsy of Jane Doe are two pretty different things, but that serve the same purpose. So in the autopsy of Jane Doe, they tie a small bell to, I believe, the ankle of the bodies, and at this point in the movie, this is more of just a thing that he does by tradition. He doesn't actually expect to hear the bell or to have one of the bodies actually still be alive, mostly because I believe that he's autopsied all of those people.
Oh, sure.
who are in there. So that would negate the chance of them being buried alive already. But an actual grave bell, the premise of it was back, the turn of the century in the 1800s, all the way up until the early 1900s, people were absolutely terrified of being buried alive. And back then, science wasn't what it is now. And so that at times was a very real possibility, especially if it was a person who maybe didn't have the means to have the full-on funeral rites like maybe a wealthier person would.
Right.
Where if you die at your quote-unquote place of death, they're going to take you straight from the hospital or whatever it is, the convalescent home, basically to the cemetery where they plop you into a coffin and they put you in the ground.
Right.
So grave bells were bells that came up through a small shaft from the casket all the way up above to the surface, and they were tied to a little pole, and it had of course the bell up top, and that string then would be tied to or attached either to the waist, the wrist, the foot, the ankle, whatever it is of that person, so that if they were still alive, someone walking through the cemetery would hear that bell ringing on the little pole up above.
Oh my God.
Knowing then maybe that person down below was still alive.
Right. And that just, the whole idea of that really freaked me out, because I'm thinking, could you imagine being, the night watchman somewhere and you're hearing this bell going off and like, what in the world is that? And so I know that, like you said, at that time, I mean, how many Poe stories deal with the fear of being buried alive? I mean, he's done it so many times, and his work was, in the mid 1800s. But like you said, this is going into the 1900s. People were just absolutely petrified of this. And from some other projects I've been involved with, the term immurement, is the whole being buried alive. And, they talk about people being immured in like walls during the building of Solomon's temple, which is just unbelievable to think of them burying people alive as they built this temple. Just really brutal stuff. But of course, back in that time period, things were a lot more violent and barbaric than we see now. But this has just been a thing for a long time. Ages have been just fascinated and petrified of that whole concept, being buried alive.
Yeah. And really back then, and you may have touched on this, but immurement was mainly a form of torture and or punishment,
right,
for someone that had really messed up.
Yeah.
And so, you speak out against the king or against whoever the powers that be. And that was one of the possible solutions, is they would just put you in a wall and put bricks up on the other side and forget about
yeah,
you.
That's just so insane. Now, I have read, when I was looking at this, as this autopsy of Jane Doe is going on, I'm Googling stuff on my phone, that there were actually accounts of people over history that have been buried alive. They, had some sort of ailment. And I think the short story Premature Burial, the character in that has some sort of condition that he looks like he's dead, but he's not, so he was paranoid about that, and actually had a casket built where he could get out of it and had oxygen go into it and everything. I mean, that's, again, it's just amazing that this actually happened. But I mean, if you've seen probably the same thing.
Yeah, and there's ways that I could get a little bit deeper into it. One thing that I will say, that being buried alive isn't something that really happens anymore, for the most part. But there are times when you go into a nursing home, say to pick someone up that has passed away, and the sad reality is the nurse can point down.
Yeah, some interesting conversations with Brad Tucker. So if you liked what you heard, go check it out, voiceofdread.com. You can listen to that episode and any of the ones I've done. I've been working on that while I'm doing this stuff, and having a good old time here. So
I give it a thumbs up.
Well, thank you, CK.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, we got a killer cage match to get to tonight, guys. This is where we take a list of 70 killers, 70 objects. Our listeners pick random numbers, and that's how we figure out who's going to fight each other and what they're fighting with. And Chris, we got some listeners we want to say thank you to.
Yeah, thanks to Chris Gorespawn, Rowdy Bonehouse. Sorry, I almost said Birdhouse. My bad. Rowdy Bonehouse and Rebecca Boomsock. Thanks a lot for the numbers. You guys kick ass. Once again, Rebecca always number one.
Yeah, for sure.
Say Gorespawn, Bonehouse, Boomsock 3 times fast.
I can't do that shit, bro.
And Joey, we got a good matchup tonight in the cage. We got a good, good pairing up here.
Fucking the man who fucking ran Chicago for a while, Mr. Al Capone.
That's right.
He's going up against fucking David Bierny, the fucking Snowtown Murders, Bodies in the Barrels killer.
Yeah, pretty sick shit. So those two going up against each other. and they're going to be fighting with what, CK?
I just saw the second
They're
one.
going to be fighting with a flamethrower and horn of a rhinoceros. This time it's a porcupine.
Oh, wow. I think we've had the porcupine before. So we got Al Capone fighting David Burney, the Australian serial killer, with a flamethrower and the horn of a rhinoceros, and a porcupine is running around. Yeah, I don't know. Chris, what do you think here, bro?
Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like the rhinoceros horn is going to be kind of heavy to control, even if you get a hold of it. Cause that's
I got to think that's going to weigh something.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of fucked up. So I kind of throw that out. And the fucking porcupine, I feel like.
Flamethrower, though.
That flamethrower. The porcupine, I'm kind of going to rule out too, because he's going to just shoot his shit and run.
Yeah.
Or just run.
That would fucking hurt, though.
No, yeah, it can incapacitate some shit. Hopefully you don't get in your eye or something.
Yeah, right.
But, man, as far as the two and the flamethrower, I feel like Al Capone's just going to get the flamethrower. No. Bernie's going to get the flamethrower, and he's just going to torch him and just be like, you know what?
Whoever gets that motherfucker
gets that
first, man, it's going to be tough to beat. Joey, what do you think here, dude?
I feel like if this was a fucking real fight between these two in their prime, it's actually a really fucking good one.
Right.
Because they're both like pretty tough, virile, tough
Right,
dudes that were down to fucking scrap. Mm-hmm. I feel like Capone, I mean, he would be best off if he ended up with that flamethrower. I think he'd be fucking lighting a cigar and then torching that motherfucker. If David Birney, he would go for that rhinoceros horn because being an Australian, they fucking
Outback,
know.
man.
Right, they know how to use
he knows
bone,
how to
stone, and fucking wood shit. They fucking just fuck each other up. And not only that, I think Birney would be a little more fucking used to the porcupine too, so he'd fucking watch his ass a little more.
Yeah.
I think when it comes down to it, whenever you got fucking David Birney with a rhinoceros horn and a porcupine, Al Capone's going to go down just for the factor of being outnumbered.
Okay.
All right.
But he gets that flamethrower though.
I'm going with the rhinoceros horn.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because you know what's going to happen?
What's
They're
that?
both going to go after the flamethrower. They're going to trip over the porcupine and impale themselves on the rhinoceros horn.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'm kind of siding with Al Capone getting a hold of that flamethrower first. I think, like Joey said, it's a good physical pairing up, but I think Capone might be able to get his hands on that flamethrower. But if either one of them get that,
That's it.
it's over because
the
I don't know what
deciding
the hell you're
factor.
going to do with a rhinoceros horn. Like Chris said, it's heavy. It's going to be awkward to hold it. But if you could get a hold of that motherfucker,
Put that
you
shit
could
on like an
easily
axe handle
bludgeon
or
somebody, man. So, and hope that the porcupine doesn't start shooting those fucking quills at you. Because are those quills, are they poisonous?
No,
too?
they're not poisons. They
No,
just
they
hurts.
They just
Okay.
they stick. Like
Yeah.
they go in deep.
Oh, man.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, for sure.
I've seen them pictures of like dogs that got their face, their
Oh,
faces
yeah,
just
I've seen that.
covered in them, dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, dude, fuck
Yeah.
that.
For sure.
I got somebody here who's dying to say something.
On Wildman Street?
You got somebody over there with you?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And he's been pumped all day about this.
Oh, no way. Pumped all day.
Fuck.
He got
the fuck?
pissed off last week, so
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
hi guys.
Hey, what's up, Weepy
What's up,
Boys?
Weepy Boys?
How are you?
We're doing good. How you
man.
doing, buddy?
We're doing good.
Oh, you know who's not going to be doing good?
Uh-oh.
It's that fuck Punky Brewster. or
Oh,
whatever the fuck.
no. Dude, you're talking about Punky?
You talking about Punky,
Oh,
man?
Joey, is Punky over there?
I hear a hoopty rolling up right now.
I'm calling his. Oh, shit. I'm going to call his ass out. I don't like what he did last week.
Oh,
Shit,
no
you
way.
call him out, huh?
419, ho. Yo, who's this? Is this Weepy Voice talking shit to Punky?
Damn, Punky,
It's
he called you
WVK.
Punky Brewster, man.
It's WVK, you fuck.
Oh, shit.
WVK.
What? This motherfucker over here crying, talking about some letters like alphabet soup and shit. 419, ho.
Oh, At least I'm not inbred like you fucker.
I hear you motherfuckers talk about flamethrowers. I'm gonna get my flamethrower and show you what's up 419 style.
Oh man! So is this like a matchup? We got WVK, Weepy Voice Killer going up against Punky.
You guys ready to get down on for real?
Yeah, you guys want to have a fight?
I'm down. I ain't gonna be much because I'm gonna beat the fucking shit out of him.
Oh damn!
Well, you know I'm down to squab all day long. I got gas, I got heaters, I got choppers, I got boys. What up?
Shit,
Wow! All right, well, I'll tell you what, Chris. I mean, we got the Weepy Voice Killer WVK. Wants to fight fucking Punky Brooks.
All right, we got to set
and
this
I think
match up.
We've got our 3-year anniversary show coming up in a couple weeks.
You guys want to do this in a couple weeks?
So
what?
Killer
What's
Cage
up?
match. We'll do it WVK versus Punky. What do you think?
I'm just gonna apologize now because when it's done, I'm sorry for what I'm gonna do to this fucker.
Oh wow!
You just apologizing because you's a crying ass bitch.
Oh, shut up, you inbred motherfucker! I'm sick of hearing your crap.
All right, we setting this shit up.
All right, so that's it. It's the stage is set. Next
419
show.
host.
Oh, WVK.
So next Killer Cage match be Weepy Voice versus Punky Brooks
Live.
It's gonna be a fucking burn it down fucking event, man. So
Hell yeah!
wow. All right. Well, I think we have done more than our fair share of mayhem tonight.
Yes, we have.
Let's hit that outro.
Our first live call out.
Yeah, that's
for
awesome,
real.
dude. Wow. All right, let's hit the outro, boys. All right, that was a band I haven't heard in a long time. Sadis,
Yeah, I
of
fucking
course,
like
Steve
Sadis.
DiGiorgio's project from a few years back. Through the Eyes of Greed. Those guys are sick. I also thought the song was very fitting with the
makes sense.
topic, L. Ron Hubbard,
Yeah.
and the whole Scientology thing. So, Steve
did it for the
DiGiorgio,
money.
one of my favorite bass players. He's just so great. Bumper music
Yeah,
tonight. Go ahead.
No, I was just listening to some like a couple songs from Control Denied, and his bass playing on that is so sick.
It is. He's amazing, man. Bumper music tonight, guys, by Prong, Sadis, and Decapitated. CK's intro music, Joey, is by who?
Christ sakes.
Fuck yeah. Murder Metal Mayhem music, CK, is by who?
One above 11.
Nice.
And Chris, the 666 fucking 6 music.
Onslaught.
That's right.
Cheerio.
We've been talking about our brand new sponsor, Rotten Cotton.
Fuck yeah.
Really awesome that they're sponsoring us and the Voice of Dread podcast. Those guys have the sickest shirts. Joey, Chris, CK, they got Pansram, Ed Gein, Albert
fucking-
Fish, fucking all
Yeah,
kinds
all-
of
they got some
badass stuff.
sick-ass
Route
shit.
666.
And they got fucking tons of stickers, patches, like
yeah,
other stuff,
horror stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, old horror type novel. No,
You
but
could
they've
be on
got
that
all
you could be on
kinds
that
of good
website for
stuff.
a while.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
dude.
really good stuff. RottenCotton.com. If you use the code Mayhem when you check out, you get 15% off. How about that?
$20 or more, you get
Yeah.
15% off.
$20 or more of
And
an
trust
order.
me, once you start looking through, you're gonna be like,
Yeah,
more than $20.
gotta have it.
You're gonna need that discount.
And I'm wearing the Omen shirt I bought from him, Damien, in the cemetery with all the crosses. It's
Hell
fucking
yeah.
sick. Really good quality stuff. So go to RottenCotton.com, type in Mayhem as your discount code at the end, and you'll score the 15% off.
Fucking right.
So go check it out. Also, we always talk about how amazing spellboundeffectsandart.com is. Great. So sick. The lamps, the all sorts of friggin' gory shit. Your arm arms with fucking logos carved into them. Just
like,
wicked.
I think it was last week we were talking about that other lamp with the face on the bottom that was split
Yeah.
open.
Yeah, that
after
was
that,
sick.
after that, he posted the video of it going around it, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks so fucking gnarly, like
It
all the
does.
way around it. Like,
It does.
holy shit, the work that he puts into them.
I
is
know,
just
it's unbelievable.
So intense.
And he sent me a text over the weekend. He goes, I've been really stalled at what I'm going to send you for your new podcast. He goes, but all I'm going to tell you is that I've been stuck on it, and God spoke to me.
Yeah, that's what.
And
yeah,
now
you
I
said- you told me
know
that.
what
That's
I'm going to
scary.
do. Yeah, very scary. So he said that I'm going to freak out. So I can't wait to
go-
see what Tony sends. So go check him out, spellboundeffectsandart.com. Of course, all this stuff we'll link to in the episode description. Thanks to everybody that's out there listening. We really do appreciate it. Keep seeing the good numbers rolling in. And
Fuck
people
yeah.
checking it out. So, Chris, why don't you read that very first one there, bud?
We got Laura Stephens says, my husband and I listen to your podcast every week. We're amazed it just keeps getting better. Well, thank you. We try to make
Oh,
it
yeah.
better. So thank you for
That's the
listening.
goal.
Tell your friends. Yeah, that's the goal for sure. Right
Yeah,
there.
we try to always improve
get
them.
better.
So, thank you, Laura. Joey, what about the second one?
Antonio Gonzo commented, I loved your interview with Angela Sapatrita. They kick ass. Well,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Thanks, Antonio.
they do.
They do kick ass. CK, what about number 3?
John Sanderson commented, I'm a listener from Toronto. Love your podcast. You guys crack me the fuck up.
Hell
We
yeah.
crack ourselves the fuck up, too.
Probably just laughing at how stupid I am.
And then, Chris, why don't you read the last one there?
Stephanie Ruskinoff. Hi, Steph.
From Toledo.
From Toledo.
right.
Says the Jim Jones episode was one of my favorites. Loved the commercial and the karaoke with Jim Jones clips. And your studio guests.
Hell yeah.
dude. All right.
Yeah, we had Punky and Weepy Voice last
yeah,
week.
yeah.
So,
Once again, we had him this week.
yeah, we had him this
There's
week.
a rival on this
Punky
bitch, dude.
Oh, no. WVK is getting all crazy.
Why do you gotta get me going? Why you guys gotta get me going? Oh my God. Go
it's
back
gonna
to
be
sleep.
Go back to sleep.
Go to sleep, ho.
Go to sleep, ho.
Go get a box of tissues and go weep in the fucking corner. All right. Don't forget
Good
to
night.
don't forget to
I'm going to
check-
make you wipe your tears with my motherfucking cum rag.
Oh, why you gotta get me going, Punky Brewster?
Oh man, Punky Brewster. Don't forget to check out murdermetalmayhem.com and listen to all our episodes. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out the show on Amazon Music, Spotify, Stitcher, CastBox, iTunes, and more.
I'm just going to say, too, real fast, we're
Yeah.
talking about fucking, listen to all the past episodes. And the very first episode is about David Hendricks.
Yeah.
Here, in Bloomington, local case. It's our most listened to episode, which makes sense because it's the first one.
That's the
Right.
one everybody probably listens to first
Yeah.
anyway.
But whenever we just did the interview with Steve Stout,
Stout, yeah.
for the
Starved Rock.
Starved Rock murders, he told us that he also had some personal dealings with
Yeah.
David Hendricks himself, and he had some stories about it.
Yeah.
So we might need to
Do
do
a
a brutal
brutal rewind
rewind
on
on the
David
very
Hendricks.
first episode.
No, I think that's a good one.
And I
Yeah,
feel
for
like
sure.
I feel like we do if we get Steve on that brutal ruin, it's going to be a longer brutal
Oh,
ruin.
we know it will be. We know it will be for sure. So support the show. Join the 666 Club, $3 a month. Patreon.com/murdermetalmayhem. We appreciate you guys doing that. And you go to PeteAltieri.com if you want to pick up one of my books, and the new podcast, voiceofdread.com, if you dig horror and stuff like that.
So you can join the 666 Club for $3 a month, and you get 10% off all merch.
Right.
You can fucking put Mayhem and Rotten Cotton's fucking webpage for your order.
Get
and you get
15%.
15% off. So
Right.
there's just all kinds of deals going on.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time deals.
And I want to endorse Pete's podcast. He sends it to me as soon as he's done. I listen to it. It's always good, and it just keeps on getting better. I really enjoy it.
Thanks,
Yeah.
CK.
I like it,
Again,
too.
I'm not saying that because you're my friend, and I'm not trying to kiss your ass or anything.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's
But,
different style
Even
than
if
what
you
we do
were a
here.
dick, I would actually have to say I like it.
The weepy voice killer be fucking kissing ass like a motherfucker.
Oh, wait, your voice skills go.
It's holding my pocket.
Kicking your ass.
He got your pocket.
Well, we can't let him go without hearing a karaoke song. This I did for L. Ron Hubbard. My wife, Jenny, suggested it, and she even went as far. She texted me. I was at work teaching a class, and she sends me a text. She goes, I came up with some lyrics. See what you think? And they're actually pretty good.
Good lyrics, yeah.
So she twisted up the lyrics to make it fit L. Ron Hubbard's Scientology. So crank it up. And until next time, keep one foot in the gutter.
And your fists in the air praising the interstellar space god.
Oh, fuck you, Punky Brewster.
Of what was going on around him, he would find it relatively simple to handle any outnesses in that.
Look at these books! What do you see? The cult of Scientology! Yeah, that meter! It knows your deeds! It can make you think you see clearly! Oh, in the cult of Scientology! Like John Travolta! And Kirstie Alley in the cult of Scientology, the cult of Scientology, the cult of Scientology. Tax exempt, no oversight. When the scavenge speaks, he basks in the light. Yes, they have to follow him. It's really no way to fucking live. You need the courses, they sell them here. Dianetics can make you clear. Oh, in the cult of Scientology, they are exploited and they live in fear. Sea Org signs up for 1 billion years. Oh, the cult of Scientology. And where is Shelley? Where can she be? Oh, in the cult of Scientology, the cult of Scientology, the cult of Scientology. Not worthy of a Nobel Prize. He'd be laughed at now if he still were alive. All the things they say Ron did are impossible. Don't believe the fucking lies. Yeah, fucking lies. They have the fortune, they have the fame, they do it in L. Ron's name. It's nothing anyone needs to be in the cult of Scientology. In the cult of, I'm 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 in the cult of, I'm
I'm in the cult of Scientology.
A true-to-life genius and an honest-to-God modern-day Renaissance man. Because frankly, whatever you have heard, if you haven't heard it from us, I can assure you, we are not what you expect.
Mother, man.